They were my best friends growing up.
From Black Can.
I didn't want to leave the hotel. I was scared too.
Meanwhile, you bag, it smelled like straight horse booty, bro. That's crazy.
Hello there.
Welcome to Tabletop Topics. I'm your host, Jeff.
And of course, Jeff. Guys, if you want to catch our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And if you want to catch our ugly mugs on Wednesdays and Fridays, we are on YouTube, one word, Tabletop Topics. We also have our Triple T's Clips channel and our TikTok channel. So if you see any short clips that you want to view, click on the link and it'll take you to our full episodes. And also, we have timestamps, so you guys don't have to watch the entire watch the entirety of the video. So that's going to help you guys do that. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and leave us a comment just in case you want us to focus on something that we specifically want to talk about. But today we have a new special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Oh, absolutely. So I am Mark Perhatch. I guess if I had to claim a hometown, Naperville, Illinois. It's about an hour southwest of Chicago, but man, I've been everywhere and anywhere pretty much. Grew up a lot of different places, but that's kind of my hometown. Mm-hmm. And then in terms of what brought me to Florida,
Women.
See, I don't know.
He's like, I'm on the fence.
I don't know about that specifically, just because I was
Florida
I was
girls.
I was in Hawaii before.
Oh, that's different.
It's very different. That's very different because
it's a different breed out there.
Oh, it's the melting pot of all melting pots out there. I swear, man, you'll see stuff out there. Yeah, it's just like you'll see girls out there that their ethnic makeup doesn't make any sense. They're like, oh, I'm French, Irish, German, Hawaiian, African.
Different.
Like, it's just like all this stuff. They're like, how does it even happen?
And then their skin color doesn't even match what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, okay, if you say so.
Whatever.
I might need to see like a 23andMe or something, whatever the genealogy thing is. But I guess I'll take your word for it.
Oh my God.
But, yeah. So prior to moving to Florida, I was in Hawaii for about 5.5, 6 years, and then I decided to leave. And my parents had moved down here from Illinois, so
okay.
I wasn't going back to Illinois. I was coming here, I guess.
What were you doing in Hawaii for 5-6 years?
So 4 of those, we'll just say 5.5.
5.5. Okay.
So 4 of those 5.5 years, I was active duty military.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
I always say thank you for the support because I didn't actually do anything. I never deployed. I got paid to hang out in Hawaii.
Come on, sir. Come on.
But if shit hit the fan,
you're
number one.
Exactly. That's
you know what
true.
I'm saying? Like,
what I always say is they're not going to send all you guys to the front line.
Exactly.
Right. So, right. You know what I'm saying?
But still, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, regardless of what my status, anyone's status, I always just thank people for the support because. Yeah, not everybody does it, so it's just kind of an honor, like a cool thing. But like I said, I didn't do anything. I just got paid to hang out in Hawaii and have fun.
But it's all in support of
exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
The Empire. Unstoppable. They carry us.
No one can stop us
across the horizon.
Hell yeah!
Thank you.
The
5 branches of military. Well, now the 6 because SpaceForce.
SpaceForce is now involved.
Man,
that's the Empire song, by the way, if you didn't know
that.
I'm still considering SpaceForce.
Really?
It's still an option. It's still an option.
All right, for sure.
Well, because at one point I had actually considered going Special Forces. When I was still in the Army, and that didn't work out. But there's always the SpaceForce.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because there's like 9 branches, right?
Bro, y'all gonna be playing with y'all gonna be hearing about all the craziest tech that's yet to.
Well, Elon Musk just launched today.
Yeah, there was a launch yesterday.
Secret satellites for SpaceForce.
They're not gonna be sending me up to space in a penis rocket, are they?
No. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are different.
They have
Jeff Bezos is the one with the penis rocket,
and Elon Musk has a
non-penis rocket.
Okay. Just have to make sure.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
That would be
man.
crazy,
You go
man.
fight the intergalactic aliens and shit.
They're gonna be like, "Is that a giant dick?"
and then you see little sperm pods just fly out, and this motherfucker's just
And
gunning.
and they're just like, I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Aliens 180.
Yeah, let's go. We're going home. This planet's weird.
Yeah, maybe it's a scare.
The Earth just shot out a
Right?
penis.
Maybe it's a scare tactic, and they're just hoping that the aliens are like homophobes, and they're just like,
Oh my god.
They
That'd be
see
crazy.
it, and they're like, okay, yep, 180, we're out.
Hey,
Of here.
Yeah,
man.
shit.
That's crazy.
That is
as hell.
crazy.
Space Force, bro. That's crazy, man.
The volume is on, right? I'm just making sure.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
you know, I'm paranoid.
Always.
It is.
All right, so you're thinking about going to Space Force. What about Space Force? Like, kind of. What about Space Force? For me, I know it's just.
Go, hold on.
it's-
Were you finished with your story?
Which story was that?
Was as we were in the army for 4 years,
Yeah.
and then you came down to Florida. But what made you stay in Florida? Because you said you've been all around.
Exactly. I didn't save up enough money when I was in the army, so now I'm trying to save up some money.
Okay, all right,
Um,
for sure.
Yeah, no, realistically, because when I did come down here, I was thinking about transitioning from the reserve back into active duty because I changed job codes because when I first went active duty, the first time around, I went in for plumbing,
Okay.
and then I reclassed to I guess the official term is mass communications specialist. So, which is just
What does that
fancy,
entail?
Which is just fancy talk for photography, videography,
And that's
news
on the
article
branch of
writing.
the army.
Oh yeah,
Oh wow, that's crazy.
yeah. So it's 46 Sierra. That's the code for mass communication specialist. And so basically, once you graduate that course, at DINFO's up in Fort Meade, Maryland. You go to your duty station, and you're gonna be taking photos and making videos for the big army.
Yeah, it's crazy because they never advertise stuff like that. They only focus on
Well,
Yeah,
like,
well, and
you never see that on TV.
And I think that's almost a disservice because there's a lot of cool stuff. Not only that, but stuff within military intelligence. And,
Yeah.
like you see
So,
the
like in the tech sector,
Word,
stuff
yeah.
that you can take after the army and apply to the civilian side and make good money doing it. So I always wonder why they don't push some of that stuff. But at the end of the day, they're gonna push the stuff that they need the most: the combat arms, the infantry, the cooks, supply, stuff like
Yeah.
that, like stuff that you truly need for warfare.
I got you.
And it's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But like I said, I think it does a disservice to all the other
Branches.
Well, not just branches, just like all the cool jobs within the army that people don't really think about. They're like, oh, wait a second, you can do photography and videography.
I didn't
in
know
the army.
that. See?
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't.
You
know
probably
that.
didn't even think the army had plumbers, did you?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
either. I thought it was
well,
literally just let's go to
it's-
war or let's
it-
just be stationed
Well,
somewhere.
you need engineers, sir.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
need-
know about the engineering part,
Right.
but they don't advertise the.
You didn't
the
think
other
about
stuff.
that, and not only that, but
Yeah.
to go with the the plumbers, they have electricians as well, and then they also have carpentry masonry specialists who do all the concrete and carpentry. So it's like that, like those things are there.
Yeah, I didn't know all that.
The more
So
you know.
this translates well once you're out of service. No.
Uh-oh.
It depends. It depends. Because when I went to, so the way it works is, you go to basic training, which is, 9 weeks. And then after you graduate, you get sent off to your AIT, which is your advanced individual training, which is like your, specialized school for that particular job code. And when I got to, my AIT, we were actually on an Air Force base. That's where the schoolhouse is for, 12 kilo, right? 12 kilo, which is the plumbing. And, like I said, joint, we're on an Air Force base. It's a joint schoolhouse. So we have instructors who are Army, Marines, Air Force, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
All of our Army instructors, told all of us Army guys and gals in the class, like, you excited to do plumbing when you get to your unit? yeah, of course we are. And he says, once you leave this schoolhouse, you will never do your job. You will never do any plumbing.
That's crazy.
You're going to be a 12 whiskey, which is a, carpentry, masonry specialist.
Yeah.
That is, you're going to be cross trained, and that's what you're going to do. And he wasn't wrong. I didn't do, I didn't do any plumbing. The 4 years. Okay, that's a lie. The only time I ever did any kind of, plumbing, when I was there was a 1 month period where when I got to my unit, once a month they'll take somebody out of the platoon and they sent them over to DPW on base, which is the Directorate of Public Works, and they had a shop for, the electricians, plumbers. So me being a plumber, they sent me to DPW for a month. So I would do some plumbing with them, but it'd be like little stuff,
Is it kind of like to refresh your training so you don't forget?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And so, for a whole month I was with the Directorate of Public Works, with the plumbing shop, and a lot of it was just, simple things around posts that, needed fixing. So anytime something broke down, whether in a government building or like the barracks or something, somebody had a, toilet not working or something like that, they'd put in a work order, shop would get it, and we would go out there and try to fix it. So that was the only time. I personally could not take my experience,
to
civilian. Into the civilian world. I mean, unless you want your stuff to not work, or still, I could show up and you can pay me to, either make your plumbing problem worse or just not fix it at all and still get paid. But I don't think that's really a good business.
Oh man! So there's like no certifications you can get.
There are, but it's very difficult because, just to put it into context, my advanced individual training was 6 weeks.
Okay.
If you don't know anything about plumbing, how much can you realistically learn about plumbing in 6 weeks? And then for that 4 years, I didn't do any plumbing. What am I going to get certified?
So you're not practicing or
exactly.
Yeah,
what am I going to get certified on?
Right.
And like I said, there are, and I forget off the top of my head what the acronym is. There's some kind of certification program, but I think they kind of want you to validate your credentials basically, and it's like, I don't have any. I went to school for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
And never did my job during the 4 years, but certify me, please. That's...
Well, I'm surprised because usually a lot of people that get out of the Army, the Marines, and all that stuff, they either join the police force or the state troopers. Why don't you go? Why did you go that route?
Thought about it. I was actually, I don't know why, but I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know the reason for this, but right. I mean, like a week or two before. Actually, let me go back a little bit before that, because Hurricane Ian was like the last week of September.
Yep.
Roughly.
Yep.
So back in June, I was still in the Army Reserve. And instead of going to Hawaii to go do my drill with my unit, they found me a unit in Cape Coral. It was a combat engineer unit. And I did a drill weekend with them, and I was just taking photos and videos and whatever. Just kind of, BSing around, having a, grand old time.
I got you.
But I met a guy there who was actually a police officer with the Sanibel police department,
okay.
and they had vacancies. Now, what I was going to do is I was going to apply, and even though I haven't been through the proper training, if they accept you, they'll send you to the academy. Pay. I don't think it's full pay, but they'll give you partial half pay or something while you're at the academy, and then once you graduate, boom, they'll hire you pretty much. And then the hurricane happened, and that
wiped them off.
That posting no longer exists.
If
you go on the Sanibel Island website,
completely
that job
Deputy
posting.
of
No, the
what?
website's still there. The website's still
Deputy
there.
of Sand.
Of sand and trees.
So, but think
Deputy of what?
about how easy that would be. Now, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong,
yeah, for sure.
It's going to be boring because it's Sanibel, and for everyone that's been to Sanibel and knows
It's
what
just
we're talking about,
rich old people.
yeah, it's just a bunch of rich old people. I don't think you're gonna really have too many unruly.
Crime.
Why need a
crime
steal?
and unruly people? So like when you think about what Sanibel PD does, usually they're at that three-way intersection just directing traffic during season.
facts.
That's literally all you do. It's
Gotcha.
gonna be very boring. But guess what? Starting pay is almost $60,000 a year.
And
Right,
watching for
right.
speeding and all that. Yeah.
I will
That's
direct
nice.
traffic for $60,000 a year instead of doing what I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh
But,
shit.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
I digress. So that's, I mean, I haven't completely ruled it out, but that was the one that made the most sense to me at the time.
At the time, I got you.
And like I said, gosh darn, hurricane just had to come in and ruin that. But like I said, I think everything does happen for a reason, to a certain extent. I mean,
got you.
I don't think there's any way to justify, a hurricane happening.
Yeah.
Well, except outside like science. but I'm talking about for like the greater good, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a greater purpose.
Yeah,
And
I
just be
got
like, oh yeah, like all this death and destruction. I'm like,
Yeah.
for what?
Oh
but-
shit! Damn. Is that include everyone that died? I mean,
but you
I
know what I
get
mean,
what
like
you're
it's
saying.
like because you get some people in those situations that are like, oh God has a plan for everything, and I'm like, how can you possibly?
That's a lot of.
that's blind faith.
Yeah.
That's blind.
Now, like I said, I'm everybody's entitled to their own beliefs, but that those kinds of things make it very difficult for me to like really get on board with the
tie
whole
down
concept
that,
of
right.
a compassionate higher being to let stuff like that happen.
And there's so much.
I think-
Frequently.
Yeah,
you
frequently.
know? And it's just like, how can that possibly be good for probably good for the earth? But,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's cleansing itself.
It
Over-
cleanses itself all the
of
time.
us, but
Yeah.
That's facts.
in terms.
But we're
of,
like cockroaches. Like you said.
Cockroaches.
Can't
Like
get rid.
roaches.
Can't get rid
You
of
know what
us.
I'm saying?
You
Yeah.
can nuclear bomb the entire world.
Like,
and
send a virus? Fuck it. We'll just,
kill
like,
a couple million, but we're still alive. So.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, man. It's part of the process.
So if push comes to shove, because I know you said you're trying to figure out your goal and all that stuff like
Yes.
that. If push comes to shove, would you join the police force or academy?
Or government.
Or government, yeah, because you have the
if-
credentials.
Yes, I mean, if there was an opportunity that arose, it's definitely something I would look into. But like I said, it's just one of those things where sometimes right place at the right time.
Gotcha.
And I don't personally know, but I also haven't done any additional research now because, like I said, I kind of had my mind set on the Sanibel thing just because it made the most sense.
Gotcha.
It was something that I knew about. I knew somebody, through the
From there, so
networking.
they could have got you.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, so you have that networking right there. I mean, it's right around the corner from where I was staying at the time, and it made too much sense. And like I said, unfortunately, hurricane
came.
and kind of hit the reset button and
Shit.
figure out what next.
Run for mayor of Sanibel. There's nobody there.
It's
You
vacant.
Start fresh. It's vacant, man.
And we need young blood, so
Same thing in Fort Myers Beach. They just sold the town.
To Lee
sold,
County.
Sold it to Lee County. You can run for mayor. You don't want to get into politics.
Oh, absolutely.
he's I'm gonna look like Jeff in a couple years, losing all my hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
You
why,
just-
like, you see all the stuff that the politicians go through. It's like, why would you want to subject yourself to that? It's like they're gonna dig so deep into your background.
They finna peel
and
your
they're,
ass.
and they're gonna
bro.
be like, hey, remember that one time that you
20 years ago?
you passed out drunk,
Yeah.
behind your house, and the
Yeah.
cops woke you up, and they go, what was that all about? And
Yeah.
it's just
People
like,
gonna come out the woodwork.
you know what I mean?
Bruh.
And it's like, man, why?
I remember when he Dutch ovened me without my consent. like some
Exactly,
shit like
right?
that.
There's just like this maniac, right, over here. He would not lift the. He
would-
kept the covers
He
pinned
kept
firmly
pinned
down,
firmly down while I suffocated.
and he actually let off a second fart after, right?
That's torture. That's torture.
And yeah, it's just like, man, why would anyone in their right mind
Subject
That's
subject
wild.
themselves to the dirty world of politics? And then it's
And
like,
you-
and like, think about one of my favorite comedians right now. Have y'all heard of Shane Gillis?
No,
I have.
go ahead.
Shane
Enlighten
Gillis.
us, sir.
Oh, okay. Y'all are gonna have to look into him at some point. I don't know if y'all are gonna find him funny or not.
Well, you gotta.
I gotta what?
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So just like a few examples, and so I guess it was probably 2016 when like for the Democratic vote, it was between Hillary and Bernie, and then all these emails were coming out from like the president of the Democratic National Convention, basically saying like we need to undermine Bernie Sanders wherever we can to
Word.
get Hillary elected as our
to vote, yeah.
as our candidate for this upcoming election. So also you see all this backdoor politics and stuff like that, and then on top of that, you look at all this money that is being raised through these super PACs, and like all this money is coming from the top 1%. You look at it's like hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars that's then used to influence one way or another.
Facts.
It almost seems as if it's like the top 1% trying to get whoever their candidate happens to be elected, right? Because it's like the people who have, and this is just my opinion, but the people who have the most money in this country and just the world in general, once their particular candidate gets elected, now they can be like, hey, we gave you hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Now you're gonna do something for us.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like it's so crazy to see. No matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican, as soon as they get into office, they start pushing the agenda of whatever side of the 1% they represent.
They influence,
right?
right.
So if it's if it was Donald Trump, man, we're gonna push natural gas, fracking, all that stuff. Like we're gonna push all that. Then boom, all of a sudden Biden's in office. It's like, okay, we're gonna go away from coal mining. We're gonna go we're gonna go green.
Yeah.
So and you look at like who has a stake in going green. Oh wait, the guy who makes friggin' Teslas.
Tesla.
You know what I mean? So it's
government
like,
contracts, and
right?
shit
Like
that.
how convenient is that?
Right.
And he's also one of the biggest donors.
Right.
So I'm just like,
of course.
Well, look at prime example. Few weeks back, prior to the new year, where the whole FTX scandal that passed.
Which I'm not gonna lie, I obviously I know what it is.
Yeah.
I never actually delved into and like saw like what exactly he did to like.
Oh, he was using investor funds.
So
for frivolous,
So it's basically like Fire Festival.
yeah.
But
So
with
they
crypto,
put they
with
put
crypto.
in, and then he would use it to gamble on other things, hoping they'd make money.
Well, here's the kicker, though. He was donating to politicians at the SEC, on the
And they weren't even his funds.
the currency exchange committees and shit like that, and politicians who were supporting crypto regulation and laws. So that way he'd have a seat at the table.
You know what's so funny though is these are the same people who probably are admonishing him now. Are they going to give that money back?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna
now
keep
they
that
have
money.
to-
They're like, well, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
We're going to keep
Yeah.
the money.
We're
though.
gonna
Yeah,
keep the money
exactly.
though. Exactly.
It's a
And you- so
donation.
it's like-
we don't
and
give
you-
back donations.
And you wonder why I don't like politics or politicians.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
You know?
It's another world, man. It's another world. But it's like, how do you, like, where do you want your life to be, 30 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in what society do you want to exist in 30 years from now? Yeah, you're living in the now.
Well, I mean, and like I said, I can only speak for myself, but
Yeah.
it's like, and it sounds, so, that's sort of what the word I'm looking for. So cliche,
Yeah,
because
okay.
it's going to be like that Miss America answer. Or Miss Universe answer. I just want world peace, but it's like but it's true. It's like and I understand like we're humans. Like you're never going to be able to achieve like true peace.
No.
But you want to try and get to like as close to it as you
possible,
possibly
yeah.
can. And just so people can coexist and live and be happy. And, you know what I mean? So. You're asking where do you want to be in 30 years, and it's like you would hope that you could, have some kind of influence on the world to help achieve that goal.
I got you.
I would think that a lot of people kind of have that same mentality where it's just like, man, like I just want to I just want to live my life,
Word.
be happy and try to help as many people as I can, and so they can be happy as well.
I like this guy.
I feel it.
That's literally.
I got a not thought provoking, but earlier today I had a really long conversation with my older sister, and it was on the idea of capitalism and how we're advancing with technology and stuff like that. And she was really driving home the point of right now, right here, right now, regardless of what innovations are made today, there are still people who are
Losing their job.
Becoming homeless, can't afford food.
And I was kind of the moderator, so I was kind of listening to both sides.
Because like I'm looking at all these issues, automation could solve, AI could solve, but she made the point that you brought up, which was
the human element of it.
Not even just the human element. The people who are controlling the direction of this technology are that 1%. You see what I'm saying? So everything they're doing is still rooted in capitalism, which is, you know, it kind of exploits all the evils of humanity. You see what I'm saying? And you know, it disregards the end user, the person at the end.
I mean, if you really want to, you know, find out what somebody's like, give them some money.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. See what they do with it.
Right.
Are they going to spend it on themselves, or are they going to help others with it?
Yeah. But I mean that's like the best test, man.
Right.
To really figure out, you know, somebody's character. Give them some money and see, you know, what they do, how they respond. You know.
But my thing is, it's not even just like, for me, it's not even just give somebody. It's before you give someone money, educate them. I think education and time,
Awareness,
self-awareness, and education, and understanding the systems that dictate your life allow you to, you know, profit off of capitalism. Because we can't just throw. Yes, we like to. Like there's deep conversation on capitalism and, you know, the pros and cons and all that shit. But it's like you're born in the system. The moment, and I told this to my sister, I was like, the moment you're born, you're assigned a social security number. That's capitalism.
Yeah.
They assigned you your ticket.
So they can give you a credit score and figure out whether or not you're going to be able to, you know,
maintain it. Right.
You know, they assigned you your ticket. You're in the game.
But I would say the caveat she threw at him was, she said this: some people are in a position where they're not focused on the future or the information because they're struggling now, paying $2,500 a month for rent or trying to feed their kids. Like capitalism doesn't, the elite this technology that's going to advance us doesn't care about that.
So you're saying that, you know, these people are getting left behind essentially because they're so focused on
the future.
No, they're so focused on the now.
The now,
like
that
paying the bills.
They're not even paying the
bills.
bills.
They're not.
And what his version of it was, well, when we do get to that, the economic forum, the monetary reset, all that stuff like that, where humans no longer have to be paying everything, everybody will be on the same level. They will get to that point where they don't have to worry about any of that. And she's like, well, that's the thing. I'm not worried about when it will happen. I'm worried about the now, because these people are struggling now and there's nobody helping them now. And that's kind of, I was literally like the moderator of this thing, because I was saying I understand where you're coming from, but I also
and I sounded, you know,
like one of the
less empathetic,
because
it's like the only way I can apply change, like I can believe, I can understand there are people hurting now, but I'm powerless because I'm one of those people. You see what I'm saying?
So, like you're in there. You're not the elite or
like
the 1%.
I understand. So if I can move past that and apply myself within the system that's fucking me over, I can use it to my advantage to change my immediate, you know, whatever reality, my outlook on life, others that I want to help, you know, a community, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Well, and that's why I'm always so thinking in the future. And sometimes in doing that,
he forgets.
I forget about
the now.
You know, the people right now.
Because the goal is to help the people now when this does
the
pop
goal
up.
is to help the people now. And I continuously forget that. And like I self-reflected on it. I'm like, okay, that.
Oh, he's been thinking about it since before you got here.
I was like, okay, I understand, because I come off as
empathetic, a robot.
Less empathetic. I come off as robot. Bruce.
So the reason, I mean, this kind of ties back into that, I think, with the whole politics thing, and, you know, people needing help and people needing, you know, help in the here and now, not, you know, 5-10 years down the road.
Yeah.
What you have to realize is not, you know, and obviously I'm just throwing out random numbers here, but I'd be willing to say that 99.85% of these politicians don't give two fucks about,
Oh, zero.
you know,
No.
Zero.
the average constituent.
Yeah.
You
Like
know what I mean? Remember, like I was saying about the whole, you know, making all these promises, and as soon as they get elected,
Nothing.
neglecting, you know, those people.
And the people believe them. And they're waiting for
Exactly.
that change, and that change
Exactly.
never happens.
And I think that's part of the reason why Trump was so wildly popular, is because he was a Washington outsider.
Yeah, he threw everything that
He-
you expected out the window.
Out the window,
Yeah,
and
right.
people were just kind of like, you know what?
Fuck it.
We've had so many years of just back and forth of, you know, things not getting accomplished
Stonewalling,
because
yeah.
exactly because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, with the checks and balances, it's like, you know, you have like this you know, the Senate is controlled by like the Democrats, but then the House is the Republicans, and so it's like
Nothing.
everything
Nothing's
everything gets
happening,
For
stonewalled.
2 years, nothing's
And so,
happened.
like, I honestly think that was part of like the allure of Trump, is where it's just like, you know what, let's just see what happens.
Right.
Like,
I'm
so-
just
like-
gonna executive
Right.
order, and if you really want to challenge it, you got to go through all the
You know?
fucking work
But I
and
mean,
get shit done.
I really think that, you know, the American public was just tired of just seeing all this infighting and just things not getting accomplished because you couldn't get any kind of, you know, compromise between the right and the left.
Yeah.
It almost got childish to the point where, like, I think back in 2012, I remember this as clear as day, where they were doing what is it called when they hold up the passing of
The filibuster.
filibuster.
Yep.
They were reading Green Eggs and Ham.
You know what I mean?
They were like, it was just like, bruh.
Right. But the thing is but like these are the people that we entrust with, you know,
Yeah.
with making our laws
Yeah.
and spending
They're
our
fucking children.
and spending our tax money. Did you say who Epstein? Talk about Epstein?
No, I'm saying they're fucking children.
Oh, I thought you literally meant.
No.
Wow,
No.
double
Sorry.
entendre,
Don't.
Jeff.
I'm so sorry.
Because,
No,
hey,
you're good.
hey,
I thought. I literally thought we were getting into the Jeffrey
Oh,
Epstein part of the
shit,
what
that
he said.
he meant two things.
That's a.
Which goes hand in hand because a
Yeah.
lot of those politicians were on that flight log to
Oh, yeah, to the island?
To the island.
Yeah.
The Clintons made a lot of trips to the island. I
was making a
I
lot,
don't know
bro.
what's going on
It
there.
was
but,
making a
yeah,
lot.
I digress. Like I said, politics is a dirty game.
That's. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
probably why they're still together. You know.
Maybe there's some freaky stuff. Who knows? I don't know.
Oh, they got hella books.
Family.
Book of secrets.
I forget the term. But I'm sure the audience know. They know. They know. Yeah, they know. They've seen stuff. on the
They've
internet.
seen.
They've
Yeah.
seen stuff on
Yeah.
the internet.
Yeah.
They have the
Yeah,
internet.
it's the internet
Yeah.
for sure. For sure.
But, you know, kind of going back and trying to tie this all together with, you know, these politicians who just don't care because they already have money and they came from money.
Yeah.
You know, so they can't relate to people that are struggling.
can't.
No, they can't.
And it's not to sit there and say that just because they, you know, have money and came from money that they didn't have any kind of struggle.
Mhm.
Everybody struggles. Their struggle is just different based
Different.
off of, you know, how much money you have, where you grow up, and things of that nature. But it's a very, very different, you know, type of struggle. And that's something that, you know, I had to learn as well because it's like, you know, I didn't come from like money,
Yeah.
but my parents were, you know, well
Well
off growing up. So it's like, you know, I still had, you know, struggles, but it,
Did they
Nothing-
teach you like the
nothing-
core values of life and having a job and all that stuff like that, or it was kind of
see, that's actually, you know, where my parents went wrong is they went the opposite direction,
okay?
right? Where they were just like, you know, we don't, you know, we had to work really hard to get where we're at, so we're gonna give y'all everything. And they spoiled the crap. They spoiled the
okay.
crap out of us, and you know,
You're different, man.
But
you
but
seem
it's,
different.
but it's a good thing and a bad thing because, like I
Yeah.
said, you know, I kind of like it gave me this warped mindset where it's like I never really had to work for anything, you know. But it was also a learning experience for me. So you know, whenever hopefully I have kids down the road, it's like, you know what, you know, I have awesome parents, but there's some things that, you know, in retrospect, I'm like, you know, probably should have done that different. But you know, hindsight's 20/20. It's whatever. You know, because they just like being spoiled like that, you know, just you didn't have that, you know, that work ethic.
So my
You know,
question,
so I had to, you know, find that later in life.
yeah, that's all I was gonna
Um,
ask you. Like, where did this humbleness and this mindset of humanity first come from, because usually
Well,
not all but some and most spoiled kids tend to think me, not they or people, but people first.
I mean, if I had to, pinpoint where it probably first started is, like I said, my hometown is Naperville, Illinois. So, our southwest of Chicago is, where I was mostly raised. But I wasn't born in Illinois. I was born in Indiana while my dad was going to school. So I was there until I was about 6 months old, and then we moved to Massachusetts for another 6 months while my dad was doing a fellowship program. And then when I was about a year old, my dad got a assignment, or I guess during that whole year he was in the process leading up to this assignment, where he went to go work for a security detail at the Russian embassy in Kiev. So we lived in Ukraine for 5 years, right? So from the time I was about 1 until roughly
Damn.
6 or so.
I need you to speak some Ukrainian.
So the crazy part is, I'm in the process right now of trying to relearn Ukrainian. I used to speak fluent Ukrainian because, like I said, I was there from about 1 until 6. And when I eventually went to, exactly, when you're younger like that, man, you pick things up quick.
Yep.
But on top of that, you're in Ukraine. There's no other English speaking people. So when I became of school age, I went to a all Ukrainian. It's not quite all Ukrainian Montessori school, except for one random Canadian girl. I don't even know what.
How'd you get out there?
I don't even remember. I'd have to ask my parents, like, what was that Canadian family doing out there? Like, ours was military related. My dad was in the army, so it made sense. I don't know what the heck this Canadian family was doing out there. So I mean, like I said, there's only one person at school I could speak English with. So I ended up learning Ukrainian, and then my dad being fluent in Ukrainian, spoke at the house a little bit, so I picked it up. But once we moved away, we didn't really speak in the house anymore, and not a lot of people speak Ukrainian, so I eventually lost it. But I did. I've had a Duolingo that on my phone for a while now. I was actually trying to learn a little bit of Spanish, or learn Spanish better than I already know it. And then I saw they had Ukrainian on there, so I'm slowly trying to go through the process.
That's what's up.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not gonna lie, I mean, Duolingo's cool, could be better, but I respect the app. I respect what they're trying to do.
Is it free?
It is free.
That's probably why.
But there's a lot of
expansion packs,
in-app purchases and stuff to make your experience better.
Yeah. So if you want the real Ukrainian,
that's how they get you.
You gotta pay $19.99 a month.
You're gonna be speaking third grade Ukrainian.
Right. So the only thing that's sticking to me right now. So the only 2 words I really remember before doing this is Davchinka, which is girl, and then Korova, which is cow. I don't know why. Chlopchik is boy.
Oh shit!
And those are the only 3. I don't know why those are the 3 boy, girl, and cow. Those are the words I remember.
So when he says, "Hey boy, come here," Hey girl.
But aren't they more abrasive with their language? It's straightforward.
It's very it sounds crazy.
Oh word!
It's very aggressive. They could be saying good morning, and you think they're trying to murder you. Think about like all the Russians you've seen in the movies and stuff. They could be just having a conversation about how are your eggs, and then you think they're trying to beat you up or something. It's just very, very aggressive, just the way it comes out. I think that's those Slavic languages.
Well, it's like when my brother and I speak Creole sometimes in front of people, they always think we're yelling or we sound angry when
we're arguing or something.
But it's that's 5 languages in one.
Yeah, it's just a whole bouillon, a whole goulash.
Yep. Goulash of languages.
But I think the only one new word I remember from Duolingo is cat, which is just kiet.
Kid.
That's it.
Kid.
Come here,
kid.
Let me get the kid.
And they're like, wait,
whoa, hold on.
What was that one show with, is it Knight Rider with David Hasselhoff?
David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider, the car.
And the car named
Yeah.
Kid.
Oh shit, what?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, David Hasselhoff, Knight Rider.
I don't know. I mean, you have to remember, for me, we're roughly, you're 32, right? You said? Yeah. So, I mean, I turned 30 in 2 weeks or something like that, so we're more or less the same age.
Of course.
My generation's David Hasselhoff. Well, there's 2. We have the drunk David Hasselhoff eating the cheeseburger while his daughter records. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. So you have that. That's how we know the Hoff. And then the SpongeBob movie when he's a boat. He's a boat. Right, so it's
Just
like
turns into-
I didn't grow up on Knight Rider, so it's
Yeah.
like I know the
That's
reference,
your
but like
David
my
Hasselhoff.
David
That's
Hasselhoff is him as a human boat,
Boat.
and then his pecs just cannon them into the water.
Yep. And then he
Jesus.
squeezes them and launches them into the water. That's nuts. That's nuts.
Oh my
man.
God.
That is
Oh
nuts.
man.
So like, what do you think? Because since we're on Ukraine, like, what's the timeline of this? Like, do you see any
Anybody give you
insight
any secret
into this
information?
thing? Well, I don't know how much you can.
So
speak
it's
on
I mean like I said, I haven't lived there in over almost 25 years.
Gotcha.
And I really don't have any connections, and even militarily, since I never I got out before
it.
we went over there. It's like I basically know what you see on the news,
General public.
and exactly everything that just like the stuff that you see on the news. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, what did I watch recently? I watched a clip of what's his name, Andrew Garfield in Hacksaw Ridge or whatever.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a conscientious objector or anything.
Oh,
But I'm also
Hacksaw Ridge was a good movie.
yeah, but I'm not like a big into war and violence and weapons and stuff like that. I have a lot of feelings toward the military as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's a necessary evil, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
But the tough thing that people have to remember and you have to try and separate is we're sitting here trying to figure out like what's going on, and
What's real and what's
it's
not.
like, man, it's so simple. It's all about money, resources, and power.
Yes, sir.
It's so simple. And then there's also some
Cultural.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
going to say ethnic or cultural stuff tied into that because Ukraine and Russia border one another.
Yeah.
and
They're like
they've
brothers.
exactly.
Right.
It's like
For his
Ukraine is
long
like the
time.
little brother of
Mhm.
you know what I mean.
That's
So it's
been-
kind of like there are still a lot of people, especially when as a part of the Soviet Union, who still identify as Russian.
As Russian.
Now, that's what they used when they said that they annexed Crimea democratically, which is not true. They strong-armed that election with, but regardless, there are still a lot of pro-Russian people in Ukraine. But when it comes to just the actual warfare, with country between country, all these people are just doing a job.
Yeah.
They're just doing
Yeah.
they're just doing what they're told to do.
Yeah.
Right.
agree.
And it's like
They
at
don't.
the end of the day, they probably don't necessarily hate you or want to kill you, but guess what? That's what they get
That's
paid
the
to
job,
do.
That's what they get
And,
paid
at the-
to
and,
do,
and
yeah.
if they want to go home, to their
Then they
wife
gotta-
and kids, or
They're not thinking about the historical significance of how this
Exactly.
is affecting
they're just
the
they're just
outside
doing a
world.
job. They're
It's
just
like
being
I gotta
told,
wake up, kill some Russians. I gotta wake up, kill some
You know?
Ukrainians.
And then make it home alive.
I feel that.
you know. And that's what like people would really try to overcomplicate these things and try to wrap their mind around it. And it's like is really simple. It's really simple. But that's why I was talking about the whole. It's like you're never gonna have true peace. It's just you can't with just the way the nature of human beings. You can't.
No.
But how can you try to find some kind of compromise, some kind of ceasefire to just to end it? You know what I mean? Like
My thing is, which is probably gonna be crazy and not in our timeline anytime soon. Like space, unlimited resources,
is there though?
unlimited. We have an entire asteroid belt that we can mine for millions of years. That gold, there's oxygen. I mean, there's hydrogen on the moon, H3. There's iron, nickel.
Because everything's originally from
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I do believe there's like international laws for
Well,
like,
here's my question though. Like when it comes to this is being so stupid because I'm not
Nah,
a
go
space
ahead.
go
or
ahead,
science
go
person.
ahead. Nah, you're good,
But,
man.
you're talking about all these precious metals. What about the water?
water ice on the moon.
Yes. Yeah.
Comets, asteroids, stuff like that.
Mm.
Because that's essentially where most of the water came
And
from.
it's all
Yeah.
clean. There's no salt.
Well, it's in space. It's radioactive. You probably have to, But
Take
still,
out the put some extra.
some iodine.
Yeah,
there you
something
go.
like
And
that.
it'll be
Iodine
good. Yeah, you
tablets.
know,
Yeah,
right?
space.
Right.
Be
water.
out.
the
We'll be all right. We take a bath in shit water,
exactly.
so.
It's the iodine tablets that they give you your meals ready to eat. I'm sure the SpaceForce has
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Like my brother, like there's 9 branches, so I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, 9 divisions in the Space Force, which
Yeah.
is crazy. And what was the one that I liked so much? It was just their emblem, and then the name was just cool.
I think they're the ones that actually they're gonna be like, orbiting space
It's-
in there.
yeah, like-
in the Dark Horse.
Orbital Defense, and
Orbital
they have
Defense, yeah.
like they're working with Jet Propulsion Laboratories, like to develop like a Dark Horse.
It's called a dark. The plane is called Dark
Right.
Horse.
They got a military contract.
Yes.
To develop hypersonic jets,
Oh,
like
yeah, it's fucking
automated.
crazy. He's like,
hypersonic
now I'm
jets.
going.
Like it's.
Well,
So
I mean,
crazy.
that stuff is like, I still think about it now. I mean, I think technically, and maybe it's because like I like Top Gun, but I think technically I'm qualified to fly if I wanted to.
Okay.
So that was one thing I thought about too, is because like I've always wanted to learn how to fly.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing as just like space. You ask like what interests you about space, and it's like what does it?
doesn't,
Exactly.
Right? Like
bro.
what does
It's-
it? Like if you're
so
not
much.
if you're not like mind blown about just like the idea of space exploration,
Infinite
there's
void.
something wrong with you. Like you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
it
man.
is that is literally the final
The
frontier.
final frontier.
That is the final frontier of all frontiers.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because at that point, like, I feel like that's yes, there will be competition in space, but there's enough space. Like,
There's competition. Have you ever seen? There's like a YouTube video. Have you seen the breakdown of the map of Antarctica?
yes,
Right.
yeah.
How much competition's there? It's
dude.
like no matter where you go.
What was it? You can't
even
fly
place
over.
even places no one wants to be, like Antarctica. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna stake our claim anyways. Like, why? For
What's there that they don't want us to know about?
Yeah.
That's wild to me, man. But it's like, okay, let's say commercial space starts up, with by 2040. You see what I'm saying? Which is pretty generous, But 2040, right? We're mining water ice from asteroids. And then China's like, well, we claim this asteroid. Well, there's like 80 billion other asteroids.
But we want that specific one.
You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, unless you're like a chest beating asshole and
Yeah.
like, yeah, I
And
want
that's what
this
they're gonna do.
specific-
I think a lot of that stuff just comes down to kind of like they just do it out of spite.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it's kinda,
And that's what it's gonna be.
They didn't want it before, but then now the fact that somebody else wants it. Well, wait a second. Now I've had time to think about it. I kind of like that one too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's so
yeah.
special about that one?
Yeah, there must be
huh?
a lot of ice water on that one. I want that one specifically.
Oh man,
I swear,
that's
people are
nuts.
so
no,
stupid
that's facts.
sometimes.
That is some human
Yeah.
shit, bro. Damn, man. Like even in space, but it's just stuff like that. But it falls back to the whole issue where I'm always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm always thinking ahead, things that haven't even happened yet. But
I mean, that kind of goes along with we talk. I think I said something about 5-10 years down the line. How people always like, oh, you need to have a 5 or 10 year plan.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't even have like a 5-second plan in my life.
I'm
You know,
living day to day.
I'm living second to second.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't have because I think sometimes we talked about it's like when you get so focused on things that might and they might not even happen.
Yeah.
But like things that could happen.
That's facts.
All of a sudden you start neglecting what
What should be done right now.
What should be done,
Exactly.
right now.
Mhm. That's facts.
But-
That is facts.
Well, I know off camera we were talking about you're telling something that you have a story from the army because our boy Vic. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I just
Would you like to divulge, sir?
I would because I've told this story to so many people just because I thought it was hilarious.
All right, so
I think
he's
it's-
got
I
it
think it's
memorized.
so funny.
He's got it memorized.
I mean, this was probably a day or two after
Mhm.
Trump instituted the transgender ban from serving in all branches of the U.S. military.
Uh-huh.
So, and I can only speak from my unit. I think most units are the same, but once a month, every Friday, you'll have payday activities.
Mhm.
So the whole company will, put on their dress uniforms, and you'll basically just have a day of PowerPoint.
I got you.
Right, and they go over, all the big classes. You have your, sexual harassment classes, equal opportunity is
Mhm.
one of them, and there's a whole bunch of different ones. But the transgender falls under the equal opportunity.
Gotcha.
Presentation, because there's like 14 or maybe it's not 14, eight protected categories, and it covers things such as,
I thought it was 14. It is 14.
is it 14?
It's 14.
That's 14.
14 because we have to do that
Right, it's
on,
like-
on computer training every
Right,
year.
age, race, gender, sexual orientation,
Religion.
and then all of a sudden now gender identity
It's not part of it.
Well, now falls into it because of the
Mhm.
ban or whatever.
Mhm.
So our instructor at the time, and I can't remember, and it probably doesn't really matter. He was either, I want to say Sergeant First Class
Mhm.
Marquez was our equal opportunity
Instructor.
instructor at
Mhm.
the time, and he's going over the new gender identity thing,
Mhm.
right? So he gets done talking about gender identity and what it is and what it means. Then we have a guy, right? Specialist Woods raises his hand, and he asks, Sergeant First Class Marquez, okay, so let's speak hypothetically here, Sergeant. If I have a soldier that I've always worked with, and his name is Jeff,
Okay.
and all of a sudden she, right, now wants to be called Josephina
Mhm.
or something, right?
Mhm.
And that's what she wants to be called. But I keep calling her Jeff
Yeah.
because that's how I know him,
That's what
her,
you're
right?
accustomed
Like, you
to.
know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's how I know. And based off of my religious beliefs,
Mhm.
I don't believe in, sex changes.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep calling him, her, Jeff
That's that person.
instead of Josephina,
Yeah.
right? And he says, "What's gonna happen to me?" And Sergeant Marquez says, "I'm gonna hem you up for it," right? You heard that before?
Nah.
So hem you up just means, and I don't know like the background. It just means like I'm gonna get you in trouble.
Okay.
I'm gonna write you up, or I'm gonna smoke you. I'm gonna make you do some physical stuff.
Yeah.
And so after he said that, my hand, I put my hand up, and I'm just like, Sergeant, so we're sitting here having an equal opportunity class, right? And you have all these protected categories, and as far as we
And
are
religion's part of
concerned, separate but equal
But equal.
categories.
Yes,
Yeah.
But what
sir.
you just told me based off of that comment is gender identity now trumps religion.
Yeah.
It is higher on the list of and that is contrary to what equal opportunity, that's contrary to equal.
That's
Yep.
just
You
Yeah.
that's just
That's plain
So that was a
English right
contradiction
there.
right there.
Yeah.
So I asked him, so
Yeah.
I'm like, so what does that mean, Sergeant? And he was stumped. He sat there and he's like,
Damn.
He's like, I don't have a good answer for that, Per Hatch, but let me get an answer for you, and I'll get back to you. And after he said that, like the whole class, like all the sidebar conversations, everybody's talking to each other because now it's like it's got everybody thinking like, and like the whole class, and they had to like quiet the class down because it got loud in there because everybody was talking to each other, everybody had their own opinion and stuff. But it was just so funny to me because it's like you put this out there,
Wow.
and then just like you put somebody on blast, and all of a sudden it just kind of like it takes.
You gave a
it spreads
statement
like
and then
wild.
you contradicted your statement.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
No, but that's good though, because it's like judging from the reaction. Nobody
was going to question it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's my whole thing is
crazy.
like you always
Question.
always have to,
Mhm.
and like you can obviously go overboard with it, but it's like, man, you always have to ask those questions, and it's something that I think I brought up to you, or I definitely said it at the store recently, where I see so many people who have this attitude of, when I ask them, well, why are things this way? Why do we do it this way?
Mhm.
I don't know. That's just how we've
That's
always
how
done
we've
it.
done
No,
it.
you got
And
to
I'm
go.
like, that's the wrong answer.
That's
the wrong answer.
wrongest
Because I've
fucking
run
answer.
across so many people who
Mhm.
are just fed up and annoyed with the
Yeah,
way
you
things-
hear the stories. Yeah.
so almost everybody I talk to is fed up with it, but
With the system. Yeah.
with the system. But their response is, well, that's just the way it is, and
That's
it's how it's always
and
going
it's
to be,
like-
and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like, well, if that's the attitude you have, and you're not going to actually try and do anything about it, then you're damn right. It's going to stay the same.
never
Nothing's going to
gonna
change.
ever.
Right.
Wow.
No, I agree.
Right.
I agree.
It's like
That's why when I was there, I always
And so- and that's
always
why-
challenged it.
you know, as frustrated as I get sometimes, man. They're like, even today, I was like, man, what if I just like walked out today and just told them like, yeah, I'm done. I'm being serious because like, there's some that it gets so frustrating to just like see the double standards. You know what I mean?
With certain people,
yeah, with certain people. But the thing is, it's every store you go to.
Yes,
but
yeah,
it's
that I can
also
agree with.
like everything truly is a learning experience.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, cause I can look at this stuff, and even though I might not be able to. I think you kind of brought up where it's like, you don't have I'm in this shit with y'all.
Right.
Like I'm the one suffering with y'all.
Right.
I can't really. If I can't get myself out of it, how am I supposed to get
you
all of
exactly.
you?
Facts.
But
Facts.
it's like you still have that knowledge of it's just like if I approach the situation with this mindset, then yeah, it's never gonna change.
Right.
And you have a whole group of people who all think the same thing, and they're not willing to raise their hand. They're not willing to ask that question.
Right.
Or they're just willing to accept what it
Just
is.
Accepted it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what I've come across, and it's not, but it's just in life, all throughout life and all facets of life, is people just accepting things for what they are and just be like, okay, that's just the way it is.
That's why I asked you the question I asked you when I worked with you for that first week, where I said, are you a person that's aware of your surroundings and your reality?
Always. You have to.
And then you're like, so you're asking me if I'm a sheep or I'm a wolf. And then
I said lion.
Oh, lion.
There you go.
He's like, nah, I'm bigger than that. So, and that's the thing.
No.
So, and that.
But the reason I said that, I say it, jokingly, obviously, because, it's the same thing with, like, having to, remind myself, any way I can, and like anytime, managers getting on you about, this or that, and it ties into the double standard thing as well. Is like, sometimes you'll have these managers who'll, tell you to do one thing, but it's like they're not willing to do it themselves, right? So, or that certain people are trying to, don't really do anything, but they're going to be the first one to sit there and say that they're the best and then criticize you. And it's like, if you know that you're better than, or better than what they're putting out there, it's like, how's that one phrase go? The lion doesn't concern himself with the opinion of his sheep. Right?
Gotcha.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's just like, you get to a point where it's like, you know what? I know what you're saying is BS.
Right.
So as long as I don't buy into it, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid.
Exactly.
I don't care what you got to say.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
this
like,
doesn't.
Or the best part is when you call them out on it, then they're like,
yeah, it's like, oh, cat got your tongue.
Yeah,
All of a sudden,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
You basically scold me, but it's like the people who go outside and smoke cigarettes every 5 to 10 minutes. They'll go outside and do it, but if I take a break of water or even go use the restroom, you're gonna want to scold me.
How dare
over.
you?
Exactly.
How
We
dare
have a
you?
truck and you're stopping, but then you're gonna go outside with your buddies.
Yeah, how dare you
Yeah.
That's wild.
replace smoking with a healthy alternative while we have a truck? How dare you?
And
Drinking
that-
your 8.8 pH balanced alkaline water
He memorized it.
with the handle, and I'm not going to say a brand. I don't know the brand name.
Oh,
the
man.
handle snaps while you're trying to.
It's
drink
called
from it.
Alkaline 88. Yeah, because I convinced him to buy the water. He went to the gym and the handle broke.
Jeff, you
and
a
he's like,
whole salesman,
and he's
bro.
like, Jeff, I'm never buying that water ever again. I said, don't
Don't
blame the
ever-
water, blame the handle.
Bruh, don't ever get Jeff hype on no product. He will sell it.
I
to
will sell it.
everyone, bro.
Like you said, you can sell an Eskimo
Snow.
Yeah, you can sell Eskimo snow.
That's wild.
You heard that terminology before?
Oh yeah.
All right, there you go.
I don't know if I've heard that, but like there's so many different ones, like
Right.
versions of that one.
Hey,
I'm still trying to convince him to get Rich Dad Poor Dad. He said it's a Ponzi scheme.
why don't you just read it online? I'm pretty sure it's like a.
I find like Spark Notes. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah,
Right.
go
it's
for it, man.
everything.
Go for
Read
it.
it online.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for one of your sisters to get done with
The book, and
with
then
the
I'll
book,
let you
and
borrow.
then
I got you.
I gotta
Do you have
the
to
physical.
read it in order like that, and then cash flow quadrant?
Yeah, he has to, because at the end he starts talking about the cash flow quadrant. So you have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad in the cash flow quadrant.
So there's 2 books. So you have to read one book
Oh
and
no,
then buy
there's,
the other book.
There's 5 books. I have the other book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have to. You see what I'm saying? You have to read them all in order and buy.
Wait, he's
buy
still
all of them.
alive, so maybe he learned. Like, what if he published the book? And he's like, oh shit,
Yeah,
I just learned something.
I get that because who is it? What's that one author's name? Is it John Maxwell who does all the? he does like not like self help necessarily, but he kind of does like in a sense where he's like, oh man, I have to look.
We
it
can
up.
look it up.
Yeah, try
For sure.
Is it John Maxwell? I think that's his name because he's got this book and I forget what it's called. I might have it lying around somewhere. Yeah, John C. Maxwell. I want to see what his top book is.
That's him?
I believe that's him.
Okay.
I'm just curious to see what the. You click on books maybe, or there it is. It's Developing the Leader Within You.
Okay.
I remember
5 levels.
Yeah, because I was reading that. I never got through it. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But this is when I was like real like into the army, and I thought that I could be the change, and then I realized that I couldn't be the change.
It's deep.
But I was like really trying to like develop into a leader.
I got you.
You know. But I'm gonna ask this to both of y'all, and I'm curious to see what y'all think. You know, are leaders born, or are they developed, or is it a mixture of both?
I believe they're developed.
So you don't think?
I don't think leaders are developed.
No?
Because think about most leaders that have existed are almost literally unexpected. Like good or bad. Think historically. Good or bad, most leaders are unexpected. They're not, it's like the whole saying, like, heroes aren't born, they're chosen.
Oh,
You see
okay.
what
I
I'm
see
saying?
what you're saying.
Kind of
So
like,
you don't think somebody can be brought up to become a hero or a leader? That's why I say develop.
So, I mean, I think that there's some people that are born to be leaders.
Yeah.
But
The majority.
they need to have, you know, like some people, if they're not willing to pursue it, they need somebody to coax it out of them.
Yeah.
To coach them up, to
Right.
teach them,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I think it's a little bit of a combination of both.
okay.
I think we've all
You're
come,
right.
I think we've all come across
Right.
you know certain people. We're not going to say any names. I'm thinking
That's
about
what I was
one
about to
person
say.
in particular.
That's what I was
who
about
are-
to say.
Who can be very you know timid.
Yeah. This said person at the workplace. Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't think that person would make
A great leader.
a great leader.
And
no
this is a
matter
person-
how much
Mhm.
coaching. you
And
know,
this is a person that's been in the system for a minute, so you think they would pick up what they've taught them, but they're still
Exactly.
the same person.
But you know, so like I say, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, you're right.
But
You're right.
you
I
know,
agree.
I think there are some people who are just you know a little bit more of natural leaders.
Natural leader.
But like I said, you know, they might not know it, or they might know it and not really want it.
Mhm.
And
Seems
said,
like they don't want it, from based off of what I've seen. So
yeah, well,
You think it just comes down to pressure? Because I've heard a lot of stories of
nah,
people assuming they want a certain position or people getting into position.
or some of them just getting it for the money.
Right,
And
and then they get put into this leadership position, and then the pressure hits them all at once. Like, I have to manage this and show some type of performance and improvement year over year.
yeah, it's hard to say, you know.
And
Like I
sometimes,
said, I've been trying to, you know, over the years, just kind of develop, and you know, I've never been a leader of anything really, but that doesn't mean that you don't understand what leadership is and
Right.
how it works.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've been, you know, kind of taking into you know account just from my own personal experiences, you know, times that, you know, I was put in a position of leadership. Like I had a bad experience at basic training, so I got put
Gotcha.
into a leadership role, and the crazy part is, everybody wanted me in that role.
because is it your voice, your demeanor, the way you look, or what was it?
I think it may have been a little bit of everything.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that you know, just to put it into or give this some kind of context. You know, I was in, you know, when you're in basic training, you're in a platoon of roughly 50 people,
Gotcha.
and then the drill sergeants will assign a platoon guide and an assistant platoon guide, and in reality, they're just glorified babysitters, and they're just there for, you know, just to make sure none of the sheep, you know,
Get out of
the flock. All right, they're the sheep herder. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Like that's really like they're there just to count and make sure, do we have everybody?
Yeah.
More or less. But you're still in a leadership role. And what they were doing is, you know, our drill sergeants for our platoon were just kind of, you know, filtering people in and out and seeing, you know, who had it, who didn't have it.
Mhm.
And we were pretty deep into the 9-week cycle, and I hadn't had an opportunity yet, and everyone's like, "Oh man, like we want you to be the platoon guide so bad, like you would be so good, and this and that, like you're just like you're laid back, you're chill, and like you're just like whatever," and I'm like, yeah, like I don't know. So eventually they did put me into the assistant platoon guide role, and I turned into a real asshole. But like you have to kind of like a lot of people probably thought that I got like power hungry. And that wasn't the case. At least to me, that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
What you don't see behind closed doors is every single time the platoon fucks up, guess who's getting in trouble? I'm getting in trouble as the assistant platoon guide, and the platoon guide, because I had two different, or I kind of worked alongside two different platoon guides. There was this one female by the name of James, and then she ended up having like a friggin' mental breakdown and kind of like just like stepped down.
Holy
and then
shit.
this other female, Phelps, came in at one point. And like I said, they don't see like all the times that they mess up, they do something wrong. Drill sergeants would take me and the platoon guide and smoke, the living dog shit out of us.
Yeah.
Push-ups,
Damn.
sit-ups, all the different exercises, and they were just, and they would punish us. And then that would make me angry. I'm walking on eggshells at all times. Like I'm so high strung at this point where I'm screaming at people, cussing at people, because I'm just like so sick and tired of getting in trouble and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so like, we ended up having what they call a sensing session, right, during one of our field trainings, where basically once we set up camp and whatever,
Yeah.
they put me and platoon guide in the middle, and everyone could vent their frustrations, and I couldn't say anything.
Fuck.
And so of course they're all like, oh, per hatch, we wanted you to be the platoon guide so bad, and blah blah this and that, and then now you're just a fucking asshole.
Well,
and
listen.
then the
Fucking listen.
The worst part about that whole thing though is the drill sergeant specifically said that everybody who wants to speak say what they got to say, and you two don't say nothing. You just got to sit there, and you guys can once everyone's spoke their piece, you can say something. There's this one girl, God, I can see her face right now. Jackson. Her name was Jackson. And she's like, Perhatch, you gave a speech the other night, and I thought it was so misogynistic or whatever, and basically saying that you don't think that women are capable of doing what men can do, and men are better than women, blah 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 blah. And I like, the worst part about that is, like I said, I had to bite my tongue. I wanted to say something so bad and be like, what are you even talking about? But like that's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with, and it's just like you go through these experiences and you kind of learn how to deal with different people and become a better leader. And the reason she said all that stuff is the night before that sensing session, one of the main graduation requirements for Army basic combat training is called Nick at Night. All right, so it's damn near midnight. It's pitch black. You're in a sand pit. They have razor wire everywhere, and you're low crawling, and you're crawling upside down to avoid getting cut up by this barbed wire and stuff, while they're shooting simulated 50 cals over the top of your head, and they're also shooting fake mortars and stuff like that. Realistically, it's really not that hard. But, it is one of, like, the major requirements. Like, you have to do it. If you don't do it, you don't graduate basic training.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, we got done with it. Everybody made it through. Everybody got done. And then the platoon formed up. Drill sergeants had me and the, platoon guide go up front and, basically give the rundown of what was going to happen with the rest of the evening. And what was going to happen the next morning when we had to, pack up our tents and throw in our rucks and go to the next site. And basically my speech, and I don't remember exactly what I said, but this is more or less verbatim, what I said, is I was like, what? Proud of everybody. Everybody give yourself a little pat on the back. But don't forget, at the same time, everybody that's come before us, has had to do the exact same thing. So I'm like, enjoy it now. Don't dwell on it too long, because we get about 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then we gotta wake up and move on.
Do it, yeah.
And that was more or less what I said.
Damn, you bit your tongue.
Right.
I feel it.
And like I said, that was pretty much the extent of the little speech. And then she somehow misconstrued that as me saying that men were better than women and this and that.
They hear what they want to hear, man.
That's crazy. She hallucinated.
Bro, she did.
Crazy.
The worst part about it is she, during that little sensing session, she said that, because of that speech, she wanted to file an EO complaint, an equal opportunity complaint against me for gender discrimination.
What?
So after we got done, I literally... So after I got done, with the whole thing, I pulled her off to the side one-on-one, and I told her, I was like, hey, I'm sorry that, whatever I said, you misconstrued it for whatever reason. Maybe I didn't word it as eloquently as I would have liked to or should have, but, it's my apologies. And then, like, after I explained to her, like, what I meant to say, she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize. She's like, I'm so sorry, and this and that. And I'm like, but what it also made me realize is like, yo, you can't just be saying shit like that out, because as soon as you're in a group of people and somebody says something like that, they believe it.
Right.
Yeah.
They just believe it because
Face value, yeah.
you know what I mean? So that everybody's like, oh, this misogynistic fuck over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He hates women.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
That man, that woman hater.
right? So like that was kind of like one of my first like tastes of like what leadership is like. And I'm like, yo, this shit's ass.
Yeah.
Why would I want to do this? Why would I want to endure that kind of same stuff in a public setting? You know what I mean?
Civilian setting.
When I could just be a GRS and chill.
I feel it.
Okay.
Get your bread.
I mean, that makes sense.
Get your bread. You ain't got to deal with.
Yeah, because man, I mean, I'm sure you being an assistant manager.
I mean,
you probably run into all kind of like HR crazy things all the time. That you got to deal with and put out fires and stuff, and deal with personnel and stuff.
See, that's the thing with me too. I just confront it face on. Like, I'll have a conversation.
Yeah, handle it then and there.
Then and there.
That's
Instead
facts.
of just, we won't do
Make
it
sure
now.
there's no misunderstanding.
Blah blah blah, all that stuff like that.
That's
like,
facts.
you gotta spell it out real
quick.
clear.
Exactly.
Real clear.
Like Timmy. Remember Timmy, 847? The kid, the guy.
Is he still there?
No, he's gone. He got fired.
They got rid of that guy.
He got fired.
They had
So
to.
he worked at 847, creep all the college girls.
Bro was like
Older, younger,
super old.
super old.
Bro
okay.
was broad day.
But he had
just-
what do you call Asperger's? He had Asperger's.
Oh,
it's
so-
like an acute autism.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But I mean, he understood right and wrong.
So he gets a free pass. is what
No,
you're saying.
no.
He got a lot of free passes.
No, yeah, and then I pulled him
aside.
aside. And then I pulled him aside and I let him know, you gotta stop this. This is your final warning. After that, we're gonna suspend you. Nobody would be able to talk to him. They literally had the customer service manager literally had to come get me to talk to him to make him understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, I got transferred, and then I heard that he did it again. And then they fired him after that.
That's crazy.
No, I just hit everything head on. I don't sugarcoat nothing for nobody. I'm not
make
gonna
it
tiptoe
clear.
around it.
Yeah,
you have
man.
to. You have
Like,
to.
especially in a corporate setting,
Mhm.
put the feelings aside.
Yeah,
feelings
or
aside.
being worried about not being liked. It's not about you being liked. You're here to
Yeah.
do a job.
We're here to
And-
do the job.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason too why I don't like I don't think it's just where we work. It's pretty much any corporate setting you go to.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I believe
Where it's
that.
like there, for those who do truly want to progress, there is a level of ass kissing.
It's
that,
politics.
It's
Yeah.
political. It's
Yeah.
political, and it's like I'm one of those people. I can tell you're one of those people. Where it's
Sir.
like you said, you're not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything either.
That's why I've been in my
And that's-
position for 5 years because
Yeah.
I ain't kissing
Yeah.
nobody's ass.
And it's But
And it's not a pride thing; it's a respect thing for me.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
dignity.
gonna. It's not. I'm not gonna lose my dignity and respect just so I can move
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I mean, like I
It's
said,
like
I got my own
merit-based.
house. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I got my own house. As long as my core values are there, and I believe what
Right.
I believe in, I'm not
He
gonna.
believes in merit. I believe.
I'm not gonna destroy my character or who I
I
am
feel
just
it.
so I can please somebody
in
that's
merit.
not gonna move me up because they don't want to. You either recognize me doing my
If
job.
you find a
or
wallet,
you don't.
you gonna get it returned with all the cash.
Exactly. So I mean, that's just me.
All the cash?
All,
I'm thinking
you
about
might be missing
I'm
$10.
thinking about the.
Just like that. I mean, I had to spend some gas to get over
Yeah,
here. So
gas.
yeah. So
you know,
yeah.
if I'm mailing it,
I was
I found
just
your
thinking about
address.
the pyramid scheme and the morality. Of that. I don't know if all that money.
I mean,
most of it, most
of it, but not all
this
of it.
ain't charity.
I mean, if you're an asshole, yeah, I'm definitely taking all of it and giving it out to whoever needs it. But if you're not, then I'll give
well,
it
how
back
can
to
you
you.
judge that until you meet him? Well, you gonna run off with the wallet again?
he's just gonna look at me like, I ain't looking.
Yeah, you
Because-
look like an asshole.
Because you're doing the pyramid scheme, and I don't want to hear I got roped into it because
Oh,
it gets to
man.
that point where you realize whether you're in something. or
dude,
not.
it's self-awareness.
It is. You just
and
gotta be.
that's rare. That's so rare.
Yeah, you got it.
Self-awareness. You know, and I don't want to get all fucking weird and conceptual, but like, it's a mass hallucination, and you know, if you understand how the systems in society work,
Just navigate it.
learn the systems, you know, even if you're not going to apply it directly, just understand what is happening. You see what I'm saying?
Play the game, basically.
Play the
Like I
game,
was telling you. Play the
and
game.
you know, if it challenges your morals, you know, go to a certain extent.
Mhm.
You know,
Like-
Loophole the fuck out.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think there's such a thing as learning too much.
right?
Nah.
You can never know enough.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So and that's why it's like every situation that I go through, it's like like once again, like same thing with like me believing like things do happen
Everything
for a
happens
reason.
for a reason. Yeah.
Um,
We believe that too.
You know, like it applies to all those situations where you truly learn something every single day.
Mhm.
Word.
I learn something new every single day. There's
Word.
never a day that goes by where I don't learn at least one new thing.
Yeah.
And that could be anything, just a little tidbit of information,
Mhm.
or like you said, how to navigate, finesse the system,
System.
right? Play the game.
Yeah. Play the game.
With age comes wisdom.
Yes, sir. You know, and yeah.
Not for all, but
not
you
for
know,
all,
it-
not
it-
for all.
it-
And then we're not even going into.
Yeah.
We're not even going like down the rabbit hole of like, well, what if you get Alzheimer's? Like, no, right? Like, obviously,
Somebody else, you always gonna have that one person that has that
Dementia.
stupid dementia.
right?
What if you get in a car accident?
Car
You lose your
accident,
memory.
what if-
Yeah, you have amnesia all of a sudden.
What if I have a stroke?
Yeah, and I have to relearn everything. And it's like, okay, like we're not going down that rabbit hole.
Oh,
right?
man.
Now it's being difficult to be difficult.
Man, that's nuts.
You're always gonna have that one person though. You always.
There's always
will.
gonna be that one person.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
well,
What if?
Well, maybe, and yeah. What if? You know.
I'm just
Bruh.
thinking about that one kid. It's like the teacher forgot she assigned homework, and he's like, "What? I did the homework," and everyone's like, "Oh, like come on now!" Like they forgot that they assigned that, and half the class didn't do it.
Yep.
There's always gonna be that one goody two shoes.
Oh, jeez.
I need my A.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, hey, you a straight A student?
Oh hell no.
Get the fuck
Oh,
outta
okay,
here.
I'm about to say.
Oh, no.
I wish I was a straight
You
A
was not
student.
about to cap on
Oh hell
camera,
no.
bro.
I was not gonna lie.
Bruh.
Fuck no.
He was not about to cap on camera.
Shit.
No, sir.
Barely graduated high school. But
Damn. I had to switch high schools in order to graduate because I said if I stayed I wasn't gonna graduate. And this was me in 10th grade.
Mm.
I literally made an executive decision to say fuck where I was at, let me go somewhere else because I know I'm not gonna graduate, and I graduated. So
There you go. There you go. That's all that matters. Now you can just learn everything on the internet.
exactly.
Yeah. Wikipedia. I mean, I probably have so much bad information from Wikipedia that I just like I'm probably out there like I'm reading the Wikipedia page that was like just edited, like 3 seconds ago. That's got like false information.
Yep.
And I just put it out into the universe. Like I'll go to work and I'll be like, "Hey man, like guess what I just learned the other day?" And I probably misled so many people with
Yep.
bad,
Oh,
with
man.
bad Wikipedia information.
And some people will either twist their neck and be like, "Nah, that doesn't sound right," or they'll
No,
just be like,
nine
"Oh,
out of 10,
really?"
9 out of 10 are just gonna take it for face
Yeah,
value.
they're gonna be
and
like, "Oh, really?
that's
Oh,
the
yeah,
thing.
I got
It's
passes
like-
on this information."
There's just so much information, though.
Yeah.
We're at the point we live in a society
Well-
where we need fact checkers,
Yep.
and then
Y'all-
you have to trust.
And the
fact
fact
checker.
checkers even are changing the facts.
Y'all know Tom Segura, the comedian?
Oh, that sounds so familiar. Tom.
He's one of the more popular comedians now. But he's got this bit that he does where when he was in high school, his dad told him that Tommy Lee Jones, right, Men in Black,
Yep.
Yeah.
was people that Tommy Lee Jones is gay, and then he's like, as I became more famous, somebody fact checked me, and they're like, no, he's not. like he's married and has kids. And it's
Yeah.
not like one of those like fake and before he got married, put down a lot of girls.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And he says, and so he asked his dad. He's like, Dad, did you know Tommy Lee Jones isn't gay? And he's like, oh, well. He's like, what do you mean? Oh, well. He's like, I've been telling people for decades that
He's gay.
this lie. You know.
Oh man.
So it's the same thing with all this like bad information.
I
I'm
wouldn't
putting
even
out.
that
People,
the-
you know, like,
Yeah.
there's probably people out there just like for years are just like just believe it without ever
Exactly.
without
Fact
questioning
checking.
it. And that's why
Yeah.
I was saying like you always like
You gotta question everything.
I question
Everything.
everything.
Yes, sir. You got to.
to.
You got to. You can't
Because
just go at face
if
value.
you don't, if you don't question everything, you'll fall for anything.
Yep.
That's true.
You got to.
That's true, and that's what sucks though, because it's like it's hard to live.
Ooh, it's very hard.
It's
very
hard to live in an objective reality. It's
it's-
so hard because there's so many like branches, like because you still have money behind
Yeah.
the information
Yeah.
that you're. You see what I'm saying? Framing.
Yeah. A lot of people try and say like, oh man, that's just like a cynical way to live, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I'm like, I'm a realist.
Yep.
Like that's and
Reality.
I feel like it kind of ties into the thing you were talking about, the conversation with your sister, and having that lack of empathy because you're so focused on the future instead of what's going on in the here and
In the
now,
here and
and
now.
you're like I'm a realist. Like I can't do anything
I
about
can't
it.
do anything
about it
now.
right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to focus on what can I do
Right.
down the road to
Exactly.
get us from here to there.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I told him. I said,
That's
just
that moderator.
navigate behind the scenes in order to help out or do what you got to do.
And that's
to get
why,
what
like,
you
I'm
would
always
do.
open to information.
Yeah.
That will progress me, whatever I can do, my skill set.
Yeah.
The further, like,
Because essentially the
Like,
goal is
yeah.
to help as many people as
yeah,
we can
later
before
down
we
the
die.
road.
Yeah.
Like, if I know we exist in capitalism, information is my ticket.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Use it to your
Me
advantage.
just knowing shit.
Yeah.
I can make connections. I can.
And just like to go along with all that, we're talking about, help as many people as you can before you pass away. I think currently, just the way that I live my life is I think about, when you finally, kick the bucket, as they say, like what's going to be on your tombstone,
Word.
and what are people going to say about you during your eulogy? Like those are the most important things.
That's facts.
Like everything else outside of people you don't like personally know, and I'm not saying like forget about those people, but it's like the people that you impact, like that you impacted, the people that are important to you.
Yeah.
Those are the opinions that matter the most.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's
You know?
facts. That's facts. Damn. I actually mentioned this. This was during New Year's when I went camping with.
2 times I'll remember your name.
Yep. And they forced me to find out who quoted that because I just kept throwing that quote out. And
What quote is that?
It was, they say you die twice. The first time is when you physically die, and the second time is the last time someone brings up your name in a conversation. You see what I'm saying?
So what type of legacy are you going to be leaving
Right,
behind?
exactly.
Because people still talk about
But
Michael.
did
and he's
you
gone.
did you end up finding out who?
Oh yeah,
who's,
that
like,
was
who coined that?
Banksy. Banksy was the one who originated that quote.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because that's like a guy who exists in our time right now.
Yeah.
Who's thinking about.
And his
Like, we're
name
not-
is still being said even after he died.
Yeah, we're
So,
not talking about.
No, he's
some,
still
like,
alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
That man's still alive.
Like some like philosopher.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're talking about
From like the 1800s.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no fucking
Yeah.
powdered wig.
Yeah, I was
motherfucker.
just gonna say every single one of them's got a powdered wig, and I'm like, why am I gonna take philosophical
Advice from you.
I'm like, I
You thought
powdered
the
wig.
Earth was in the center of.
What the fuck? That's crazy.
All right, what do they call that? Like heliocentrism.
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 Yeah.
You know. And
No,
you're wearing a powdered wig.
geocentrism.
Geocentrism.
Helio is the sun. And then even
sun,
that
okay.
model was wrong.
Wrong,
Because
yep.
we're just flying through space at like 2% the speed
So
of light.
literally a spiral like this.
And then the sun is
In the-
dragging everything
in
behind.
the
And
center.
it's just like,
So the model that does this, it doesn't look like that. It's like this,
yeah, and
going that way
our
towards the
our
singularity.
access against the galactic plane. So if this is the galaxy, this is our solar system, or this is our solar system, and we're all orbiting, flying around the galaxy, which is like, that's a crazy concept to, you know.
Dude.
I don't know, man. It's like, it just gets deep into like the nature of reality. You see what I'm saying? But I try not to lose myself into that,
Which is why I ground him.
which is why like I like forming connections. I like forming relationships, like how to see other people's
Perspective and
perspective
their realities.
and their realities,
Yeah.
and compare it to mine. Because we're having this
Well,
conversation, but
Everybody perceives, reality as something different.
Yeah.
It's like your reality is not the same as
it's
my
not the
reality.
same. You see what I'm
And
saying?
that's
You're the
why
main-
you gotta talk to people to figure out, like,
What is happening?
what-
like,
what
what are we
is-
experiencing
what is-
right
yeah,
now? This is
exactly.
consciousness. What the fuck are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's the next step? You know what I'm saying?
That would actually be like a really good like
Question that nobody
not
can
even a
answer.
question, like it's like a good name for like a TV show. Like, what is happening?
What is
So,
happening?
like, have you guys ever watched that show or ever seen it? It's called I Think You Should Leave.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I knew you were
Yeah.
gonna say that.
Yeah,
I knew you were gonna
but
say
But it's
that.
like the same concept
Oh,
of like
dude.
all of his sketches are like these like moments where like you get to the end and it's like, yeah, I think you should leave.
I think
now,
you should
know?
leave.
But like, the same concept could be had for like a sketch comedy show of like, what is happening?
It's amazing because he
He showed me a clip, especially when they went to the haunted house.
Right.
It's like, I
And
thought
I thought you said that we could
could say anything.
fucking say anything.
fucking ghost just come
Come
shot.
shot. Oh man, I'm dead. The dude is nuts.
Yeah,
That
it
was
is.
crazy.
It is.
That was
My
crazy.
favorite thing about that though is like if you ever watch like the interviews that he does with like I think Seth Meyers. It's probably the Seth Meyers one where he talked about it, and he's like, "This show is literally all of my rejected SNL sketches." He never had a single SNL sketch
Wow.
make it to air.
Wow.
Right, because they thought they were all too stupid. And let's be honest, some of them are pretty stupid.
They're
but
pretty
so
dumb.
funny.
Ahead
But
of his
it's
time.
like, but here's the thing though. It's like he's going against what objective truth is. Like he's intrusive thoughts. He's what goes against
The norm.
the
The
norm.
norm, yep.
You see what I'm
Right?
saying?
And people are like, oh, I don't know how I feel about
like we're not
this.
gonna exactly. It gives you this weird cringe.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It gives you that weird cringe because you're not gonna go into a museum and just
Start saying
nuts,
shit like
bro.
that.
And so I think like part of that too is that I think like the people at SNL probably looked at that and they're just like, there's gonna like he found his niche, right? He
Right.
found
Yeah,
his
yeah,
niche,
he did.
and he turned it into that Netflix series.
Right.
But I think when SNL looked at it, they're like, I think a majority of people are not gonna like this,
Nah.
and so SNL appeals to a wide audience.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
What
We're
brings
not
us
doing
money?
it.
Nuts.
Exactly, right.
That's nuts. That's nuts,
So,
man. But
What is that is gonna be like one of my new catchphrases.
what is
What
What
is
is happening?
What is happening? Like
'Cause
sometimes
I literally do that like even on the drive over here. Like anytime I see people like weaving in and out of traffic just to hit a red light, I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
why?
Like, do you understand that you're like
do you understand it's called traffic?
What
for
I
a
always
reason?
say is, we met up again, dumbass. You
Yeah.
did all that.
But they
just
don't
for us to
understand,
meet up.
Like there's logic behind traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have people who
Well-
slip through, but it's like it's a preordained system. The lights are set to timers. Like if you're in a certain group spanning a certain amount of cars, there's only so far you're gonna get.
exactly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Unless you run that red or that yellow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
but,
saying?
but people like they get this idea in their head. Well, I passed like two people.
But then you end up right behind them again.
Yeah. And it's,
Oh, man.
So yeah, I like that because like what is happening? That's got to be something that I got to incorporate now because I love that phrase. What is
Yeah,
happening?
because this reality gets even
Sometimes
great,
it's like
better. It's getting better and better every
Yeah.
time I wake
Right.
up every single day.
right.
Like another one of my big phrases that like, and I don't even remember exactly when I started saying it a lot, but fuck it, man.
Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Like
right.
people are like,
It
you
is
know,
what
you-
it is.
You know, or like no, but for me it'd be more of like a, hey, you want to do this? Fuck it, man. Why not?
Fuck it.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Or it's just like it's fuck.
That's
it, man. Like,
facts.
just go with the flow.
It's
man.
right now.
You know,
Yeah.
just in the here and now, just spontaneous.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh,
something
sure.
different than what I was doing the last 2 seconds. Hey,
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck
That's
it.
true.
No, that's
Why not?
facts.
And then when you say fuck it, you probably end up in a situation where you're like, what is happening?
What is happening?
He's like, and then he's telling the story. My day did not start out this way.
Yeah.
Let's rewind back.
Bruh.
You know, it's just different. There's different
Yeah,
levels to it.
I
know,
got
it's
you.
just
No, that's
progression.
facts. That's facts, man. Gotta look at shit objectively.
Yep.
You gotta look outside your body sometimes. But that's the thing, like, then you just start disassociating. You don't want to yeah.
detach completely.
completely.
You know, but that's why you're here to ground him, right?
Yep.
If he starts getting too detached, you got to bring him back down. To
I do, because sometimes he start spiraling, and I'm like, all right, Jeff, let's
Yeah,
get
chill
back.
out, bro.
Or if he's trying to explain something.
Oh, you know what? Hey, the Army's got something for that. All right, it's called MRT, Master Resiliency Training. Okay, and one of the things that's in MRT is spiraling or downward spiral.
Mhm.
Right? You gotta lift yourself out of that. And one of the biggest things you'll learn in MRT is they'll tell you, in terms of resiliency, are you the egg or are you the tennis ball?
Word.
Right. So it's like if you're the egg, you're just gonna splat.
You're gonna crash. right?
You're not resilient whatsoever. You're the
Yeah.
tennis ball. Boom, you're gonna bounce right back. This is the
Mm.
kind of stupid shit the Army wastes money on
Wow.
to teach you. This
Wow.
is
$8 billion.
$8 billion. This is your taxpayer money for somebody to teach one of your sergeants to tell you that be the tennis ball, not the egg.
Be the tennis.
Wow, sergeant. Wow.
Wow. Man, that was.
But I still remember it years later, so apparently it was effective. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shit, I might pass that on.
But yeah, so they got the spiraling, and then what else they got? There's a whole. I mean, it's a whole thing. Probably a book.
Do they have like what is it? Mental health training? I'm probably saying it wrong, but like
So that's what MRT is.
Okay.
And Master Resiliency Training is supposed to be that that mental health training to help avoid you from that downward spiral. Like I said, that's just one. There's so many different things. They talk about the spiraling. One thing they talk about is catastrophizing everything, where and maybe it's just the military mindset or just the lifestyle where people tend to catastrophize, and basically make what they call it, mountains out of molehills, right?
Gotcha.
And so like I said, catastrophizing, downward spiral, and there's so many different things. Like I said, I can't remember all of them, but I mean it's a whole curriculum,
Oh, wow.
and then of course they incentivize it for all these guys where it's like, well, if you get qualified or certified as an MRT instructor, promotion points. So it's a whole thing. So a lot of these guys and gals who get these certifications for these classes, they're just trying to get promoted.
They're just
Yeah,
they
I
don't
got you.
care.
I feel it.
They don't care.
I
Like some of
feel
these
it.
people are just like, oh man, you can tell they're just reading off a PowerPoint that they got emailed, from the
Jesus Christ,
it's-
man.
Hell no, man. Do you have any outlooks?
A final, yeah.
Oh yeah. Final thoughts, like
So what we always ask everyone at the end of the show is, what message would you have for either people you know or everyone out there that you would like? What message would you like to spread to everybody, that all of our listeners or anybody that listens to this, like
something that you live by, that keeps you ticking, keeps you
Yeah.
going every day,
that you would like to share?
that you would like to share.
And
In the shared.
Ooh, that is so
experience.
tough, man. I'm thinking about all the things I've talked about because, man, I can go back and I've said a lot of cliches and I got a lot of old adages that
Hey.
I like to pull out for
Hey, they ring
motivation
strong for a
or
reason,
or
yeah.
inspiration. But I think out of everything that we talked about, the most important takeaway, in my opinion, is what we were talking about with other people's opinions of you. You know, if somebody has a negative opinion about you or thinks that you're, not good at something, or for whatever reason, if you can objectively look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what, I did the best that I can, I gave it my all, and if they don't think it's good enough, I don't really care.
Facts.
Because I know that I gave it my all. I gave 110%, and I can't do anything more. I can't do anything less. And it's like, just be content with who you are. Be comfortable in your own skin, and you'll live a much happier life with that kind of mindset. Like I said, just in my opinion, it's very liberating. We're all human. You're never going to be able to 100% eliminate that outside noise.
Yeah.
You kind of think about when people talk about being in a zone, right? Like, like if people ask, like a guy like Tiger Woods, and he's like, man, it's like, when I'm out there, it's just me.
Gotcha.
I don't notice anybody else around. It's just me.
Focusing on my craft.
Focusing on my craft.
That's
What I mean? So you're never gonna be able to 100% get to that, like that zen, But if you can get as close as possible, man, life is so much more enjoyable and satisfying.
Facts,
when you're just comfortable with yourself, and that's why, like I said, I joke about the lion thing, because like I know I'm not a lion, but I like to think I'm a lion.
Yeah.
It's like, and if you walk around and you're just a humble lion, it's,
Yes, sir.
it's a good life.
Sir.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a good
for sure.
life. Yes, sir.
That's what's up.
You just be the best version of yourself and be content with it.
Now here's my question to y'all. I'm gonna flip the script.
What's up?
Do y'all have any final thoughts? Any closing messages? Because that's my thing, and I'm curious to see if y'all got any additional inspiration for myself or anyone else that listens.
For me, it just goes back to what I said earlier, like always understand that there are limitations to who you are. You were made in your most complete form, and whatever you can achieve is only available to what you have, what I'm saying? And knowing that you can do the best that you can, you should be content with that, regardless of what the expectations are or not. You see what I'm saying? An expectation is just an average of what the rest of everyone can do. You see what I'm saying?
And I like that you brought that up, because it kind of reminds me of something that I tell people, where it's with these expectations and the limitations. For someone like myself, let's say that the expectation is somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, Perhatch, I want you to run a 9.3 100-meter dash. I want you to beat Usain Bolt's record by like 3/10 or 4/10 of a second, or whatever it is. It's like 9.68 or something, right?"
Mm-hmm.
They talk about that is not like my complete form. I can't, like, I'll never, no amount of training I'll ever do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like I wasn't built for that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I
So
feel
it's like
it.
you
I
have
feel it.
to have realistic expectations
Yes,
for
sir.
someone like
Yeah.
such as myself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, like you said, there's things you can do to get closer to that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But you're never gonna be able to to achieve that.
Of course.
Just be the best version of yourself
Exactly,
and be
but be-
content.
Always.
You see what I'm saying? If you love yourself, you're happy with what you can do. You see what I'm saying? If you believe you can do more, go for it. You see what I'm saying? But believe yourself all the way through. You know what I'm saying?
What's up?
You got anything for me, boss man?
Well, what I always say is this, and the message I always let everybody know. The message that we try to spread here is you just got to be more open-minded with everything that you do in this reality, and you understand that not everybody thinks the same. I would say the message to spread out to the masses is just navigate who you are as a human being, and don't let anything anybody say influence you in a way that you won't recognize yourself anymore. So I would say just be honest with who you are, people around you, and not everybody can live a fulfilling life, but like you said, you can get as closest to it as possible.
But I feel like what you said also ties back to what I was saying earlier about money changing people.
Oh yeah.
And
And
you're
that's-
talking about staying true to yourself, and
And that's one of the things that he said. He's like, if this blows up, how do you know that you're not going to change? And I said, well, I've had money, and I'm still the same person I am. And I always say this: I don't care for money. Money is something that helps us go round and round,
Right.
but it's not something that's a necessity. If somebody
Right.
needs help, regardless
There's
if
no
I,
urge for me.
for me, yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
If
it's
it
like
comes, I'll know what to do.
I think the
with
biggest
it.
issue with a lot of people is when they some people never have that lifestyle, and then they come into a whole bunch of money and then they just blow it off all in one day because they don't know how to navigate it. So it's like they go from rich to broke real fast because they think what they always needed was money to change what they need, but continue the same habits that you've been doing without it.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up some lyrics right now because there's a line that J. Cole has in.
Start all over again.
Go ahead. Keep going.
Go
So
ahead.
is that?
No, you're good. You're good.
Um,
J. Cole.
yeah, it's the song "Love Yours," which he actually said, and maybe it's changed. He said during the halftime NBA All-Star game like 5 years ago that this is his favorite song that he's ever made.
Oh, your phone is.
No, it was mine.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, think being broke was better. Now, I don't mean that phrase with no disrespect to all of my out there living in debt, cashing minimal checks. Just kind of talking about what you were saying, where it's like, some people never reach that. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn to understand that that's
Of
not
course.
it's not everything.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly.
It'll get
And
you
that-
places, but
And
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's one of those things where once it's that's one of the most cliche things I always say. It's easier said than done. But that's why it's the constant learning process and teaching yourself how to be okay if you never reach that
Gotcha.
lifestyle.
Of course,
and
of
being
course.
and being content with what you have. Because he also says, for what's money without happiness or hard times without the people you love. Right. It's
Yeah.
like, because it's like if you don't
That's facts.
have the people that you love around you,
then there's no point.
there's no point.
There's no
What
point.
what does it all mean? What's it all for?
It's nothing because you can buy a mansion if you want, but are you happy? Are the people that you grew up with, or the people that had your back with you, or did you leave them behind? So
That's facts. That's facts, man.
yeah, we're
That's
definitely.
why you gotta know yourself, bro.
Yeah,
You gotta
do.
spend time
You got.
with
That's
yourself.
why
You gotta-
we always say you gotta love yourself first before
You
you
gotta
can
love yourself.
any and everybody
If you
else.
don't know you, man, and you seek validation and recognition from others to define who you are, you're gonna be lost.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
gonna be lost.
and to go along with that, not only are you gonna be lost, but let's say that you are, you're trying to help somebody, and it's like if you can't even help yourself, or if you're broken,
Facts.
how the hell are you supposed to take care of somebody else
Oh,
or,
hell yeah.
or
That's
fix their
facts.
problems when you still got problems? So it might come across as selfish, and maybe to an extent it is, but it's like you got to take care of yourself first before you can
Take care of anybody else. Yeah, for sure.
That's facts. That's facts. All right, Jeff.
It's about that time.
It's about that time.
Mark, we're definitely gonna have you back on.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope
Thank
so.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you
sure.
for,
Yeah.
for,
No,
for
I
giving
appre-
us the time.
I
the
appreciate you
opportunity, man.
for-
seriously.
For driving out here, man.
Oh, absolutely. The entire time, because then I
He's
was
like, I'm
kinda-
gonna get shot.
No, so the crazy part is, I've heard about Lehigh.
Word.
It's kind of cool out here. I don't know.
It's dope. It's
You know,
quiet.
and
This East Lehigh.
East
It's
LA.
East LA. See, the stories you hear about Lehigh, that's in the triangle.
that's in the trial.
That
Yeah.
that's
We don't-
across Gunnery.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Gunnery, the 82,
This,
82.
back
the-
here, this is where you're dealing with like
Yeah.
people who are coming from LaBelle. You got a lot
What's-
of police officers who live out here. It's
What's
super
the
fun.
population like in
It's,
Lehigh?
it's
compared to-
114K. We're expecting
Lehigh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're expected
It's,
to be.
it's just spread out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of land.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
land, and they're building
But-
a lot too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
That's
of
what I know. I
land.
mean, that is a lot of people, but it definitely seems a lot more spread out.
Mhm.
That's what I hate about, especially when I lived in downtown Honolulu.
Yeah.
It's like 500,000 people, and everyone's just
Bunched
I
in
clustered.
together.
hate it.
Bruh,
I hate
this-
it. as crazy as it sounds, I hate people. You know what I mean? So
Hey.
like being out in an
100.
environment like this is
It's
very.
quiet.
Yeah.
That's why I moved. That's why I chose this
It's
plot of
nice.
land, half acre.
Like me,
It's quiet.
I'm looking at some
And our
lots
neighbors don't even bother us
15
unless they
minutes
say
up
hi,
the
yeah.
road. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a lot, bro. It's a fire sale out here. Like
Yeah,
there's
it is.
lots. You can find 1 acre lots, half acre lots, quarter acre lots, third acre lots, like, and they're reasonable. Yeah, the market's up, but they're pretty reasonable for where you're at too, and especially
And I
like
built this house 2-3 years ago now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and like everything that's one, it's a nice place to put your real estate investment because it's expected
Yeah.
to grow.
They already put in the
You see what
Starbucks,
I'm
Aspen
saying?
Dental.
Right.
Oh, that's how you know when you
Yeah,
made it. When the Starbucks,
exactly.
they're going to be a Whole Foods.
Exactly. They're looking at the commercial plaza right across Blackstone.
Yeah.
So
82.
So
that's
that's
when
gonna
you
be
know. When
huge.
you got a Starbucks, you
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah,
They're already
yeah.
building the gated community. They established
Oh no.
the Lehigh
I mean,
Acres.
that's good for your property value, but man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, we don't live nowhere near.
I know,
so.
but
No,
I
this is
understand
the
gated
free land.
communities,
It's okay.
HOAs.
Yeah.
Man.
No, zero.
Not for
I don't
me,
like
not
that.
for me.
No, sir. That's
No.
what Cape is. Cape is one big HOA.
HOA.
So I wasn't worried about getting shot on the way down here. The biggest incentive for me to come out here is, I thought about what you said about people flaking.
Yeah.
And I was like, 'cause I was
We're not gonna name any
we're not
names.
gonna name any names, but I was a little bit tired, and I was like, oh man, should I try and reschedule for Thursday? I'm like, no, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go out there.
That's
and-
I appreciate
The
you,
follow
man.
through,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate
it.
you.
Thank you.
I was a
Thank
little
you.
bit late. I ran into some
Nah, you're
traffic
good,
that I
man.
wasn't expecting, but
Yeah.
hey, I made it.
No, but we're definitely gonna have you back on here, and if you want to bring a guest that
Yeah, for sure, man.
that's why we have the extra chair, the extra mic.
Maybe find out if some people aren't, flakier than a
Yeah,
Popeye's,
that'd be nice.
Popeye's biscuit.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, you can find somebody else if you want. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that person. You can,
Okay.
yeah, you know other people,
You
right?
know who you are.
He's gonna be listening to this.
Maybe
But,
I'll bring like Joe Schiffer or something. I don't know.
that'd be
He ain't coming
nutty.
out here. He's gonna think I'm gonna murder him for real.
No, he's gonna look at the Google Maps and see an empty lot.
I thought you
That's-
said they updated.
I think they did, because that was the test when we first started this. They hadn't updated Google Maps,
So it's just woods.
So when we sent them the address, they would look at it and just see empty lots, like just straight trees and everything. They're like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah, they're like,
It's-
I'm about to end up on like the first 48.
First 48,
right?
bro. It's a graveyard. They're They're sending me to a
Right.
graveyard. Hell no.
Right.
That's crazy. All right, brother, take us home,
All
man.
right, guys, we're definitely inviting Mark back. Interesting conversation, but thank you for joining us at the tabletop. If you want to join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And if you want to catch our ugly mugs on Wednesdays and Fridays, we are on YouTube, one word, Tabletop Topics. We also have our Triple T's Clips channel and our TikTok channel. If you find any clips interesting, please click on the link, and then it'll take you to the full podcast view. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on your notification. If you want to comment on anything that we can talk about or improve on the show, let us know. Also, we have timestamps, so
Okay.
mash on the key. So now that you guys will be able to view the specific sections that you guys want to talk about. But thank you guys for joining us at the tabletop. You guys have a good night, evening, weekend, and or day.
Thank you. Thank you.